Hi and welcome to another episode of Questions from the Comments section. This is where I answer a question that someone has asked me on one of my social media platforms, and I answer it here in the hope that new users or people who are interested can find the information they need. Today's question ties into the last one a little bit. That question is, how do you fill an eyedropper fountain pen, or what is the method? And simply put, you use an eyedropper or a blunt syringe, which I have here, which is just from a Daiso store, and basically the concept is it's very simple, very straightforward. You take the section out of the pen, leaving you with the barrel, and you fill your syringe or your eyedropper with ink, and then you fill it up. And I'm going to quickly do that for you now using this syringe. It's a really great method for huge ink capacity, particularly with a pen like this, the Gamma Jumbo Acrylic, because you've got a huge barrel of ink there. And so if you're someone who likes to use a lot of the same ink, this is a really great system for you. It's probably got the highest ink capacity of most filling systems because you are literally filling the entire pen with ink. There are a couple of little pitfalls. First thing I want to say, this pen needs to be clean, so forgive that, but you absolutely need to make sure that you either have silicone grease on these threads and or preferably both if you can, a little rubber O-ring on there, because this pen has a lot of threads as well. This is greased up, and if you don't, ink will work its way through the threads, and that can be a disaster. So silicone grease or an O-ring, but also don't overfill it. Also, the other thing to be aware of is it's one of the most methods that is prone to things like burping. So that means that when, for instance, a great reason that this happens, or one of the main reasons, is that when you're writing, your hand heats the ink. Actually, it heats the air in the reservoir there. And so if your ink level is getting low and the air in there gets warm, it expands and it pushes more ink out. So you get burps of ink. That can happen on when flying with these pens as well, because the air pressure changes around it. So that's just something to be aware of. But it is a great method for having a lot of ink, for having, a reliable amount, if you are using your pens a lot. So I'm now just going to quickly do that fill for us here. I'm just going to use Waterman, Serenity Blue, because it's what I have here at my desk. And so I'm going to use, so this just blunt syringe. This is like for cosmetics and stuff at Daiso for, putting it in different bottles. I'm not going to fill this all the way up because it does use a lot of ink. But you fill up from the ink bottle your syringe. You can see that's full of ink. And then I put the syringe in the barrel of the pen and I just fill it up. And so I will do that until it is just below the threads. So in the end, if I was filling this all the way, I'd fill it up to just below the threads. And then you put the section back in. And a little trick I have found, the thing with this filling system also is that it takes a bit of time for the ink to work its way through, because you're not filling up through the feed, so the feed isn't saturated. So the way you can do that is you get to the last few threads, and then you can't quite see this because I'll show you what I mean. You get your ink bottle and you just hold it over the open ink bottle, and then you just do the last few threads up, and what you get is a couple of drops of ink will fall out. Basically, this is happening because you are changing the size of the space in here by inserting the section, and you are forcing ink down through the feed, and that saturates the feed, so that will be just about right to write now. You're priming it more or less. And then you have a big ink capacity and lots of ink, and it's great. So that is how you fill an eyedropper. It's a good system, as I said. One of the most traditional filling systems, and gives you a huge ink capacity. And as I said, if you can do those things like making sure you've got grease or an O-ring on the threads, you're pretty safe as long, and you know, got a good sturdy pen like something like this. There's a number of amazing eyedropping pens around. So I hope you found that video interesting and useful. If you did, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Hit the notifications button if you want to stay up to date with the videos that I produce. Please feel free to get in touch using any of the platforms listed below. You can find me on Instagram or Twitter at @the_offstage_me, or you can contact me on any of my videos here. And if you ask a question on here, I will try and answer it in a future video like this. If you'd like to support the channel by sponsoring a review or providing an item for a review, I would love to hear from you. After all, it is your support that makes this channel possible. In the meantime, enjoy your pens, enjoy exploring this hobby, and I will talk to you soon.